In this video, we're going to answer the age-old question, are leaders born or made? I have a different perspective that you might find liberating. Stay tuned. People have been trying to answer the age-old question of whether leaders are born or made, and there's plenty of debate on this topic. But today, I'll answer those two questions as well as come up with a different perspective that you should find very liberating. Welcome to Leadership Live, and if this is our first time meeting, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Ndumi, and I help people find freedom through leadership. Please type in the comment section, freedom, before we get into the video because you're going to find this session very liberating and freeing. If you have any questions or comments on the topic, please leave them in the comment section. I love to read them and I'll make sure to respond to all of them. Are leaders born or made? Let me start off by clarifying this question and saying it's not just if leaders are born or made, but if it's good leaders are born or made, if great leaders are born or made. So as we have that perspective, let's jump straight into the video. Are leaders born? People who have this perspective believe that people cannot just be leaders just like that they have to have special characteristics that they're born with that make them a leader. There's a theory called trait theory that believes that everyone is born with certain traits, and with those traits there is no flexibility. So people with different skills are not able to transition into other skills because their traits and their gifts are fixed. This is behind the theory of the people that believe that leaders are born. Studies have even come up and identified a leadership gene. The gene is called RS4950. So with this gene, they say that if someone has this gene, they have the innate traits of a leader. This gene was discovered in 2013. And if we look at it, this is an example of leaders who are born. You look at the royal family. You look at Prince William and Prince Harry. They have leadership traits, even though if you look at them now, they've taken up different leadership roles. Prince William taking the more formal leadership role, and Prince Harry going out on his own and forging his own path. Under people with the trait theory, they would say that these leaders have been born and that they've inherited their leadership traits all along the years through the monarchy. And other studies will go and show that other leadership skills such as temperament, agreeability, etc. can actually not be taught, but they're inherited, and they're inherited in a person's character. Next we look at, are leaders made? Again, more statistics say that leadership is 24% genetic and 76% learned. Now I don't know where people come up with these stats, and as you can see, there are statistics that support both ends of the spectrum. People who hold this belief also hold on to what is called transactional theory, which means that what you do is what matters. And they believe that leadership is learned through experiences, through training, through circumstances, etc. to become a leader. The question is then asked that if leaders are born and not made, why do people work on it? Why do people watch videos like this to learn about leadership? Why do they go to school and learn about leadership? They say that leadership has to be learned, and without the learning with it, then you actually cannot develop yourself into a leader. If you look at the example of Nelson Mandela, if he was born in 2020, would he have achieved the notoriety that he had? His environment and his circumstances dictated that he needed to rise up to leadership. Had apartheid not been there, and had he not had to spend a stint in prison, maybe he would not have developed himself into the leader that he had to be. Maybe he would have just stuck at being a lawyer and kept his job and lived a life like everyone else, a normal life. But he had to be made. He was developed through his circumstances, through his beliefs, through the things that he endured to become the leader that we all revere today. If you're getting any value from this video, please hit the like button, and I appreciate it if you share it with people that would enjoy it. Let's get straight back into the video. Then there's the third group that believes both leaders are born and made. People who subscribe to this theory believe that yes, people are born with innate gifts and skills. However, they need to nurture those skills and work them out and polish them to become even a better leader. So if you put in the hard work and you don't have the skills, your hard work should be able to cover up for the skills. But if you have some skills, maybe you might not need to put in as much hard work to get to the same level of leadership. However, to be a great leader and to be a good leader, which this video is about today, we need to make sure that you are being the best that you can be. So it's adding the skills and the hard work to become the greatest leader or the best leader that you can be. A good example of this is people in the army. They take people and they say that they break them. So when you're going through boot camp and you're going through training, the objective is to break who you are, to break down, all the things that you have been in your life and to build you up. And that's how they develop leadership in the soldiers. And then those with the inherent leadership skills are the ones that are able to rise within the ranks within the army. So it's both and. They believe that people have inherent leadership skills, but they believe that they can break anyone down and build them up to be a leader. However, the fact that this debate has been going on for decades shows that there is actually no consensus on whether leaders are born or made, or whether or not they are both born and made. However, as I said today, I have a different perspective that I'm going to share with you. And that perspective comes from finding the common thread between all these thoughts on whether leaders are born or made. But before we get into that, I'd like to quickly define what leadership is. As we answer the question of what leadership is, I'd like to use John Maxwell's definition of leadership. And that is, leadership is influence. So your ability to influence someone is what makes you a leader or not. So if you're not able to influence anyone, then generally you're not a leader. But if you're able to influence someone, then you are a leader. And as we take it back to these three different theories on how leaders are formed or made, you look at this question of influence. Can you be born with influence? Can you be made to grow in influence? And in a way, I guess you'd say yes, that the princes, as the example, are in a sense born with influence because they already know that this is the lineage, this is who will be the king one day. So in a sense, they do have some influence there. But you also ask, is influence grown? And influence definitely is grown. I mean, if you look at the modern age, the age of the influencer, then you see that indeed influence or leadership is something that can be learned and grown. So I hope this gives you a little bit more clarity on whether leaders are born or made. However, I'm about to share my take on this topic. And I believe that leaders decide. At the end of the day, whether you're born, made, or a combination of the two, a leader has to decide to be a leader. If they don't decide to be a leader, then they fall into the category of a bad leader, or someone who doesn't use their leadership skills well, and then falls into the cracks. A real leader has to decide that they want to be a leader. And that should be liberating for you because you have all the keys at your possession. You are the one that can decide whether you want to be a leader or not. Sometimes the decision is actually overt, that you decide that I'm sick and tired of this, let me do something. But sometimes the decision is actually overt, where there's internal tension and you see that things are not the way you want them to be, but then you're pushed through circumstance. So Nelson Mandela could have been pushed through apartheid to stand up for something that he believed in. Someone could have been pushed to say, I'm tired of my financial situation. I want to take leadership and open a business. Or someone would be tired about the way their family is running and say, I want to take ownership and leadership over this and change the way our family has been going. You have to decide if you want to be a leader or not. The choice is 100% yours. You can't blame it just on birth or on circumstances, but it's something that you have to decide and then take that journey. Whether you need to learn a few things or whether you already have the skills inherently inside of you, you are the one with the choice on what you will do with your skills, what you will do with your time, and what you will do to progress your life further. So if you ask me, are leaders born or are they made? I say no, leaders decide. Thank you for watching this video. If you got any value from it, please consider clicking the subscribe button over there. Please share it, like, and watch these 2 videos that I have for you. Catch you on the next video. Take care.